And sometimes, we can't buy enough from any one player when they move to a market like that we can sustain an exclusive deal, because we have to guarantee so much business.
Sure.
Otherwise, we're standing in the way of them making.
So I want to touch on that before you continue on your point. Hang on to that thought, because a lot of people may not know this as well. When we talk about exclusive relationships with the players, what that entails is an agreement that they will not sign autographs for any other company. However, we have to guarantee that we purchase a set amount, the equivalent of a certain dollar value every year.
Right.
Now, it's similar with licensing as well, where we have to guarantee that we are going to sell enough product that the royalties that we give to the NHL or the NHLPA or the Hockey Hall of Fame or the alumni is going to equal the minimum guarantee. And if you don't hit it, you have to pay the difference.
Comes out of our pocket.
Right.
And that's why most of the smaller companies don't do this.
It's a big
big gamble.
Because what happens if the player gets injured? What happens if the team does poorly? What happens?
Right.
Yeah.
And when we have a great player and he moved to a bad market, then we're stuck with not only the stuff from the previous time, but with the player in a bad market.
Right.
And that's happened. We had Joe Thornton exclusively when he came to Boston years ago.
Right.
And that was probably the worst deal that I did. Nothing against Joe, because he's a great guy.
And we've continued.
We just
to deal
did
with
a signing with him, but Joe was in Boston, and I think 2 or 3 weeks later he got traded to San Jose, and we were stuck with, I don't know, $10,000 worth of product that we couldn't sell, because not only did he leave, but he left on not great terms. So nobody in Boston wanted anything to do with the
until
product.
now it turns around and people forget a little bit. But there was a similar situation with, if you remember the playoff run that the Montreal Canadiens had, and they had 2 goalies to decide between Yaroslav Halak and Carey Price. And there was a big question: who are the Montreal Canadiens going to stick with? And
there was no question in my mind
that it was going to be.
Although if you talk to Alan Walsh, he would have disagreed with you at the time.
But here's the thing: is we agreed. The agent of Yaroslav Halak came to us and said, "Guys, he's staying." Like he made us think that there was a good chance he's staying. Take it with a grain of salt. An agent is going to try to look out for their player. Completely understand that. Rushed us into a signing. We do the signing. We purposely bring a lot of Olympic photos at the time, because Yaroslav Halak had just played in the Olympics there. And I think it was 2 days after the signing, it's announced that he had just been traded.
Well, bad on us. I mean, we've learned so much over the years. I mean, we almost jeopardized our whole company at one point, because we signed so many deals without. By the time we got our product ready and that the season was almost over.
Yes.
We missed the whole Christmas season.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't meet the guarantees, and
that
we
was
had to.
We outlined that in, I think, episode 5 of this podcast, from signature chaser to industry changer, I think is what we called it. And it's pretty interesting, because we were on a high with signing new players, and then this was the potential collapse. As there is in any industry, there's a bubble and then it bursts.
So you learn, and you learn that what you've got to be able to do is move enough product to at least recover your investment back, and then hope that the rest will sell through and the player doesn't get traded, et cetera. So that's
there was, before we move on from there, I had a funny story, because I was at that signing. I think we did it in tandem, actually, with AJ Sports. I was there with Andrew Goldfarb of AJ Sports, and we were doing this one together along with the agent and Halak, and we remember put a photo in front of him. A 16 by 20 photo for him to sign. It was an overhead shot of him during the Olympics making what we thought was a save, because it was a great looking shot. And as soon as we put the photo in front of him, he looks up at us like, "Really?" And we're like, "I know, it's a really great shot, right?" He's like, "The puck is in the net." You
didn't notice that it was behind him.
The puck was behind him already. So he was a good sport about it. He signed it, but that was funny. I remember specifically driving to the airport after that signing, and there was a piece of graffiti etched into my mind on the top of a building, just enormous letters: "Halak is God." And that was it. Like he had so much hype going for him.
He
there.
had a really good stretch there for a while.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's we just went over Dougie Hamilton and got into a little bit of a tangent, but
great kid too.
Yeah, absolutely. He met him a couple times, just super down to earth. A lot of people don't know this. Insanely smart. an incredibly intelligent person. I mean, academically. A lot of people wouldn't know that or maybe hadn't heard it. Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Sign Off, a Frameworth podcast. Just a reminder that we have full episodes of the Sign Off available wherever you get your podcasts, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Make sure to like and subscribe on whichever platform you use. You can find us on Twitter at Frameworth Sport or on Instagram at Frameworth Sports. And hey, if you're not sick of me yet, you can find me on Twitter at Retrograde Mikey. Finally, feel free to send us emails with your questions you want us to answer on the show, and we may feature you live. You can do that by sending your emails to signoffpod@frameworth.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you with a new episode every single Thursday.